Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed chapter 1. We're going to jump right into chapter 2 today, and this is called Across Mountains and Prairies. So the big question that we're focusing on is, how did European ideas of land ownership conflict with the beliefs and cultures of Native American tribes living in the Great Plains, Great Basin, and Northwest Plateau? All right, so before America was divided into colonies and eventually states, there were no borders, fences, or property lines. The only boundaries were those set by nature: wide rivers, deep canyons, parched deserts, high mountains, and dense forests. Early European explorers and settlers stayed mostly in the eastern portions of what would one day become the United States of America. The English established their colonies along the east coast, and the French settled in parts of Canada and the Louisiana Territory. When the United States gained independence in 1776, and for many years afterward, few Europeans really knew what lay beyond the Ohio River Valley. Few European explorers had ever crossed the Mississippi River. Although people knew about California because the Spanish had settlements there, what lay west of the Mississippi River was a mystery to those living on the East Coast. As many people of the United States would learn, thanks to explorers such as Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, the grassy prairies of the Great Plains extend more than 1,000 miles west of the Mississippi River. Then the Rocky Mountains appear, their jagged, snowy peaks rising over 14,000 feet straight up into the clouds. Cross those mountains and travel due west, and you will descend into the sands of the Great Basin, or farther north between the Rockies and the gorgeous Cascade Mountain Range. Discover the canyons and pine shrub forests of the Northwest Plateau. Combined, these three regions, the Great Plains, the Great Basin, and the Northwest Plateau, cover nearly 1 million square miles, or about one-third of the continental United States. In the early 1800s, these three regions were home to hundreds of different Native American tribes. By that time, the tribes in the East, including the Cherokee and many others, had already suffered disease, war, and forced relocation. There were still Native Americans in the East, but for the most part, they were absorbed into the society and laws of the United States. Out west, however, on the Great Plains and beyond, most people still lived according to their ancient customs. None of those tribes claimed to own any of the land they lived on, not in the sense that it was theirs to sell or buy. They did not have property deeds or titles. Each tribe did have an area they called home, and the people worked together and shared the fruits of the land. This was the land of their ancestors. It was the land where all their people were born and died. It was their belief that the people could not own the land because they were part of the land, just like the plants and animals. Eventually, this viewpoint that people were caretakers rather than owners of the land added to tension and mistrust between Native Americans and settlers from the United States and other nations. The lack of defined borders and property lines made it easier for outsiders to claim land and forced Native Americans to move. The settlers carried deeds or papers claiming that the land was theirs. The Native Americans had no such papers. Traditional ways. On the Great Plains and beyond, each tribe knew exactly how far they could go before they met a neighboring tribe, and they knew whether that tribe was friend or foe. Whether they were friends or enemies, they held the same respect for all the living things in the land and in the sky and water, including the animals they killed for food. They saw that all living things were part of the same earth, sharing the same soil and air. They believed everything came from the same creator, even if each tribe called that creator by a different name. Children learn their history through fireside stories and singing the songs of their ancestors. They learn to use the earth's gifts through daily chores, gathering food, tending to crops, and hunting. They also learned about the religion by participating in rituals and ceremonies. There were ceremonies to mark the changing of the seasons, birth, deaths, marriages, and coming of age events, such as a child's first kill while hunting. Ceremonies brought people together. There was singing, dancing, drumming, special costumes and food, and a wide variety of rituals. But these events were not simply for entertainment. These were sacred ceremonies. Ceremonies have always been an important part of Native American cultures. Sharing to Survive. An author named Mourning Dove, born in 1888 and died in 1936, from the Okanagan tribe in the Plateau region, wrote of one basic ritual that helped young girls learn important lessons about their role within the tribe. Children were encouraged to develop strict discipline and a high regard for sharing. When a girl picked her first berries and dug her first roots, they were given away to an elder so she would share her future success. When a child carried water for the home, an elder would give compliments, pretending to taste meat in water carried by a boy, or berries in that of a girl. The child was encouraged not to be lazy and to grow straight like a sapling. Simple rituals such as these taught children what it truly meant to be a part of the tribe. They learned that sharing was not simply a matter of kindness, it was a matter of survival. Vision Quest. In many tribes throughout the Great Plains and other regions, older boys and sometimes girls were expected to participate in a vision quest. This coming-of-age ceremony marked a young person's transition to adulthood. During a vision quest, a young person or quester sought to understand his purpose in life. The most important part of a vision quest occurred when the quester traveled alone into the wilderness. During this time, he had no food, water, or sleep. He was supposed to focus his mind, his heart, and his body on nature and what it means to be human. At some point, usually after a few days, the quester would receive a vision. It was like a dream, but the quester was not asleep. The vision carried powerful meaning. Some people claimed to have conversations with the spirits or their ancestors. Others claimed to be able to see into the future. After his time in the wilderness, the quester returned and shared his vision with the tribe's holy man or woman, who helped him understand exactly what it meant. The vision would help to guide his actions and decisions for the rest of his life. So this is a picture of the quester traveled alone into the wilderness. The importance of buffalo. For the Lakota and other tribes of the Great Plains, there was no greater symbol